This is an intro copyrighted by Nintendo. Okay, next. Class tuning incoming for Season 1, March 17. So it's coming in a few days as of recording the video. So the first few days of Midnight Max level plays have given us data and feedback needed to make our first tuning pass, with the goal of reducing outliers. We will continue to keep a close eye on class balance as both Heroic and Week 1 of the PvP season start, and players continue to gain gear and begin using their sets. Let's start from Decay. Sorry, drinking a bit of water. Blood. Deathbringer Reaper's Mark damage increased by 20%. Deathbringer Exterminate damage increased by 20. Wave of Soul increased by 20. Deathbringer Deathly Blows now increase the damage of Death Strike by 12%, was 5. So it's a 110% buff. Binding Darkness now increase the damage of Blood Boil by 30%. This is a 300% buff. No, 150%. No, it's not 300. Anyways, it's a good buff. I have only one issue right now, and that is Deathbringer. I don't know if it's because it was lacking all of these buffs, but Deathbringer felt like I had to play Decay only around Deathmark, and could not actually enjoy the class and pressing buttons if I did not have Deathmark to press or Dancing Rune Weapon. So I like that they're buffing Deathbringer, but I'm worried that I will be forced to play Deathbringer again and have that bad feeling of not being able to play my class until I have Deathbringer, the Deathmark back. Let's see how this is gonna turn out. Maybe these buffs will make the normal rotation feel good again. But let's see. Annually all damage reduced by 20%. Huge fucking hit. This may be a game changer for some people. I can see some people switching class just for this. But let's be honest, Annually was, for now, a bit overtuned compared to some other classes. Epidemic damage increased by 10%, so they're buffing a bit the AoE side of Epidemic. Virulent Plague damage increased by 15%, so they're buffing the dot as well. Yeah, I see maybe they were doing a bit too much for what they intended in a single target, so they reduce the single target damage and buff a bit the AoE, just to stabilize, you know, on the AoE perspective. Demon Hunter, Devourer, all damage dealt reduced by 4%. Okay, simple, straight to the point. Havoc was falling a bit behind. All damage increased by 6%, very good to see. Immolation Aura damage is increased by 10%. Burning Wound bonus to Immolation Aura damage reduced to 35%, was 40. Okay, Ragefire damage increased to 35% of Immolation Aura. Critical damage was 30, so another 50% more, 5% more. Essence Break damage increased by 10%. Glyph Tempest damage increased by 10%. And then we have some buffs on Aldraki River. River Glaive damage increased by 8. Fury of the Aldraki damage increased by 8. Thrill of the Fight bonus Haste increased to 8%, was 6. River's Mark damage bonus increased to 6, was 5. Okay. Aldraki River Wounded Carry effect increased to 25% of physical bonus damage, was 20. So we are having a bit of buffs on Havoc, thanks a lot. Devourer was dominating the DPS scene for the Demon Hunter. Havoc was not even a possibility, it was really fucking bad. So now we have a few buffs. Let's see if they can compare now with the nerf on the Devourer and buff on the Havoc. Vengeance. All damage increased by 10%. I saw a lot of people complaining about Vengeance. It was falling a bit behind, especially compared to someone like Guardian Druid that was honestly overtuned, and Paladin that also has a lot of damage. I'm curious to see if we're gonna see a nerfs on those two. All damage increased by 10%, Immolation Aura damage increased by 10, and then again the same buffs I think for Aldraki, no, different buff, but also Aldraki River buff again. Wounded carry effect increased to 20% of physical damage, was 15. Nice. River Glaive damage increased by 8, very simple. Fury of Eldraki damage increased by 8, it's the same. Thrill of the Fight bonus 8 increased in the same way, so 8% was 6. Ok, balance, druid. All damage increased by 20%. Okay, I can see that. It was already pretty good in Mythic, so I'm curious to see. Not applied in PvP combat, thanks God the PvP bunking is already dealing a bit too much damage. So even more damage in PvP would have been disastrous. Starfall damage increased by 8%, okay? Starfall damage decreased by 14%, so see, this is what I was saying. In Mythic it was doing good, but on single target it was lacking a bit of damage. It's crazy though, all damage increased by 20% is actually very crazy. But Starfall damage decreased means that in AoE situation it was doing way too much compared to the single target counterpart. So, Elune is chosen, Lunar Calling increased Starfall damage to your primary target by 120%, up from 100%, so it's 20% more than before. No. Season set increased shooting star damage by 40%, was 50, so a nerf on the set, first one of the list. Season 1, 2 set piece shooting star outside Eclipse generate 2 astral power, was 3, so a nerf on generating power. Wait, why does it have 2 piece set? What? Do we still have the difference for Elune's chosen, you know, the Apex talents? No, not the Apex talents, sorry, the hero talents. I didn't know that. I didn't notice. But I guess. Season 1, set armor 4 piece, fix the bug causing the exploding shooting star to increment orbit breakers count by 1 for every target hit. Now counts only as 1 shooting star as intended. Okay. Simple bug fix. No, sorry. Season 1 set. Increase the shooting star damage by 40% with 50. This part right here. Sorry, this part, but we're gonna have to see. Why does it have two different bonus piece set? I don't understand. Anyway. Feral, all damage dealt increased by 6%. Rake bleed damage increased by 20, rip damage increased by 10, swipe damage increased by 10, rampart ferocity damage increased by 10, unseen swipe damage increased by 15, frantic frenzy reduced by 10, a fixed the boss because frantic frenzy to hit 6 times instead of 5. I'm sure my feral friends are gonna be very happy to see a single target damage increased, because as of right now, feral was lacking a lot of damage on single target. Was doing pretty good, I'd say, in the mythic scenario, but on single target there was something missing, and now I feel like we got it, so very good. Guardian, finally, let's see if it actually get nerfed. Moonless Knight now causes your direct damage melee abilities to deal 20% additional damage, was 40. Okay, good nerf. Already a 50% nerf on the first. Good. Wild Guardian rank 4 now causes equals to deal 300% increased damage, was 1. So we have a 100% buff on the rank 4 of Wild Guardian. Okay, interesting, maybe their Apex talent was a bit underwhelming, but everything else in the kit was a bit too overwhelming. So let's see what... Ability damage excluding Moonfire reduced by 20%. Oh! This is insane. All ability damage excluding Moonfire reduced by 20% is insane. It's basically on the same level as the Anoli. Moonfire damage reduced by 10%, okay, so the Moonfire is only 10%. The Druid of the Claw damage dealt by Ravage of its main target reduced by 27. Druid of the Claw damage dealt by Dreadful Wound reduced by 23. And Killing Blow now increased Maul, Raise, and Ravage damage up to 70%, was based on range consumed, was 100. Druid of the Claw increased Mangle damage by 10, was 20, so nerfed by 100%. By 50%, sorry, and Bestial Strength now increased Maul, Raise, and Ravage damage by 10, was 20. So we have a huge damage nerf all across the class. The only buff that I see is here with the Apex Talents, so I guess it's as I was expecting. Too much damage on every single ability except the Apex Talent, that was a bit too much underwhelming. Interesting. Restoration, simple, flat, healing reduced by 6%. Okay, I haven't played with any druid, so I don't know how actually good they were. But I feel like if they did a simple 6%, they weren't that crazy, but maybe a bit too much for the starting of the season. Evoker, Devastation, Scale Commander must disintegrate damage bonus for each missing target reduced to 10%, was 15. Ok, so a bit of a nerf. Augmentation, Scale Commander Mass Eruption damage bonus for each missing target reduced to 10%, was 15, so another little nerf. Molten Embers damage bonus reduced to 15%, was 25. Okay, Duplicate rank 4 stat bonus reduced to 75%, was 100%, so another 25% nerf. Fixed any issues, okay, nothing crazy. Preservation, Rewind, healing increased by 200% outside of raid, buffed by 100%. Okay, so the preservation was lacking healing, I'm guessing. Rewind healing is no longer increased by 67% in PvP combat. Maybe it was lacking in PvA, in PvP was doing fine apparently. Meritra's Blessing increased the direct healing of Dream Breath by 250, another 100% healing buff. Wow, it was lacking a lot of healing then. Dream Breath direct healing increased by 20%, Merithra Blessing reverse 1% of the damage, was 2%, on target with reversion. Okay, so interesting, only, 50% reduction here. Reversion healing increased by 25%. Okay, but we have a reversion healing buff. Okay, Hunter, Survival. Survival received a big nerfs, if I'm not mistaken, a few weeks ago. Let's see if they maybe overtuned the nerf a bit too much. Auto attack damage increased by 35%. I'd say yes. Just right off the bat, I'd say they overtuned the nerfs. Wildfire Bomb primary target damage bonus increased to 80%, was 60. So, wow. Whoa. Very, very nice. Raptor strike damage increased by 10. Okay, Raptor's wipe now deals 35 to 70 increased damage to its primary target, was 20-50. Huge damage. Actually, huge damage buff on this one. Finally, the AoE is not gonna be dependent on Wildfire Bomb, because right now my problem with Survival, its damage comes only from Wildfire Bomb that reduces the cooldown of Boomstick and then you Boomstick. Boomstick is the only damage ability the Survival Hunter has over right now. It's very, very sad, because personally I don't even like the ability that much. Honestly, they could remove Boomstick and give me more bombs or some poison and I would be happier. Boomstick doesn't really fit the survival, it's the only gun ability that we have received for some reason that I don't understand. We have bombs, okay, but why the Boomstick? I'm not a big fan, not a big fan, honestly. But some people may like it. Anyway, Beastmaster. Bubble Shot damage dealt increased by 35%. Okay, Cobra Shot damage increased by... Whoa! Doubling the damage on Cobra Shot, was it that much shit? I know, let's be honest, Beastmaster is never been a class that does damage itself, it's always been the pets. So Cobra Shot damage probably went from 5 to 10, so it's not a huge game changer, but always nice to see buffs of this scale. Dark Ranger Black Arrow initial damage increased by 50%, okay, very interested. Marksmanship, no nerfs nor buffs, it's just a fix. Fixed initial causing sanctified armaments to be modified by damage taken and damage dealt increased. Okay. Mage. Arcane. Arcane Blast damage increased by 25%. Nice. I'm not reading this right now, I'm looking at the other screen. I'm expecting a arcane missile buff, possibly, but I'm not too sure. Let's see. Arcane barrage damage increased by 15%. Okay, arching Cleave additional target receive 40% of arcane barrage damage was 60. Spellslinger or bonus damage reduced to 10 was 25. Spell control instant cleave percentage reduced to 40 was 60. Now I wonder, will this make arcane mages use arcane arcane missiles again? Because before you used orb and then barrage, but I feel like the buff on barrage is gonna balance everything again, you know? Because right now you don't care about the damage of, I mean, the orb is a good part of the damage, but you care more about the barrage. Is it gonna change anything? I'm interested to discover. We are gonna know next week. Fire. No nerfs or buffs on Frost. Interesting. I heard Frost was doing way too much damage for what some people were expecting, but I guess it's still in their calculations. Maybe we're gonna see something for the Frost in the next months or weeks. Fire. Ignition now increased Flame Strike Ignite damage by 15%. Was 50. Damn. That's a huge nerf. Wow. Season 1 set 2 piece. Now increase Pyroblast and Flame Strike damage by 6% was 8. Season 1 4 piece. Fireblast cooldown reduced to 0.3 seconds was 0.5. Fireball damage increased by 15. Frostbite Fireblast damage increased by 15. I heard someone yesterday say, after I said, yeah, the fire is doing way better than people expected from the beta. And he said, oh yeah, and they're even buffing fire. This does not look like a buff to me, honestly. They have Fireball and Frost Firebolt, that are the same ability, buffed by 15%. And Fire Blast. This does not look like a buff whatsoever. I mean, the whole thing, this is obviously a buff, but the whole thing looks like a nerf with some candy to, you know, make you feel a bit better. But this is actually a nerf, let's be honest. And not even a small one on the AoE side. Flame Strike Ignite damage 15% from 50 is huge. Anyway, moving on. Monk, Brewmaster. Master of Harmony, Meditative Focus now increased damage dealt by Tiger Palm by an additional nerf by 50%, very interesting. Master of Harmony, Aspect of Harmony stores vitality based on 12% of damage done and 6% of effective healing, was 25 and 12. So we have another 50% basically nerf on the Aspect of Harmony. I heard that Brewmaster was doing way too good compared to other tanks. The damage is a bit high, but you know, Brewmaster doesn't really have anything except the damage and damage mitigation. So I wasn't complaining too much. But it's obviously nice to see them trying to balance even the tanks. Nothing on the Windwalker, okay, interesting. Mistweaver, Shining Gift increased by 60%. I heard the Mistweaver was having a bit of issues trying to compete with other healers. And on this topic as well, I'm expecting some buffs on the Shaman Restoration as well. We're gonna see. Shailung Gift, healing increased by 60%, a huge buff. Gift Cloud now increased healing 10%, per stack was 33, so a bit of a nerf. Apparently my sources weren't fully correct. Jade Fire Teachings now increased the transfer rate of Ancient Teachings by 260%, was 200%, so again a buff. Way of the Crane now transfer 300% of damage onto one ally, was 125 onto 3. Interesting. Way of the Crane now transfer 340% of the damage onto one ally, was 125 onto 3. So it became a huge one healing ability spell. You're telling me it's a burst of damage on single target? I mean a burst of healing on single target. Is this what you mean? Okay. Jade Fire Stomp damage now transfer into Ancient Teachings at 20% effectiveness. Okay, so this is an additional thing that was not in the game before. Okay. Developer not justify stun tool we do have the... Okay, yeah. Okay. So it's a plus that they received. Invigorate Mist healing is increased by 30%. So overall, good buff and even thick buff, I'd say, with a bit of rework here for the Mist Weaver. Interesting, I hope to see it being more played. In PvP, it wasn't doing too bad, but you know, PvP is a whole different world. Paladin, Retribution, Final Verdict damage increased by 30%, Light Within main target damage increased by 25%, Templar Slash and Templar Strike damage increased by 25%, melee damage increased by 25%. So for now we have only single target abilities. I'm expecting something of a buff on single target and a nerf on AoE. Let's go on. Crusading Strike's damage increased by 25%. Crusading Strike now reduce auto attack speed by 20%, improved from 35. Okay, so this is a nerf. High Lord Judgment damage increased by 25. Divine Storm damage... Okay, yeah, sì, reduced by 12. Okay, Herald of the Sun damage on Downlight increased by 25, and Herald of the Sun Downlight now cleaves 4% of the damage deals to nearby enemies, was 5. So again, bit of a nerf on the AoE aspect. Templar Empyrean Hammer damage increased by 30, interesting. Wrathful Descent now deals 35% of Empyrean Hammer damage, down from 50. Okay. Improved from 35 though, it says. Okay, so it's a buff. I honestly don't know what happened here to the Paladin, I haven't played it in a while. So I don't know if Crusading Strikes is a talent that maybe increased damage of something at the cost of auto attack speed reduction. So maybe this is a buff because of that. Templar, Hammer of Light damage increased by 10. So huge buff on single target, maybe it was lacking the burst and everything. I'm very scared of PvP. Because already as of the moment, Retribution Paladin were one-shotting people in some scenarios. With all these buffs, I hope to see a nerf later on in the PvP section about the whole Retribution damage. Otherwise, Retribution Paladin is gonna be absolutely goated, insane overpower. But again, nice balance to see for the PvE side. Priest, Discipline, Penance damage and healing increased by 20%. Really? Was not expecting this. I heard a lot of people say Penance was dealing a bit too much. So not expecting. Shadow, all damage increased by 10%, not applied to PvE combat. Oh, very good, the fact that it's not applied to PvE combat. Shadow Word Death increased by 40%, nice. Mind the Blast damage increased by 20, nice. Mind Flay damage increased by 20, good. Idol of Nazot damage increased by 20, nice. Shadow Word Madness damage increased by 20%. Physic Link now causes direct damage. Spell to inflict 20% of their damage to all target afflicted by Vampiric Touch, was 60. So they're trying to shift, again, the AoE damage on more single target and redirect how you deal damage. Okay, very, very interesting. Rogue, Stab. Backstab Gloomblade damage increased by 20%. Here again, I'm expecting a buff on single target and a nerf on AoE, but I'm not too sure. Shadow Stack damage increased by 15%, Viscerate damage increased by 8%, melee auto attack damage increased by 15%, Black Powder damage reduced by 12%. Same nerf as the Paladin, 12%. Potent Powder bonus Black Powder damage reduced from to 20% of the mastery, was 30%. Unseen Blade damage increased by 20%, Nimble Flurry effect reduced to 50% of listed attack damage, was 65%. Cleaver Combat crit bonus for Shuriken Storm reduced to 10%, was 15. So again, nerf on the AoE side, because the sub was indeed dealing a bit too much damage on good packs, on big packs and AoE in general, and a buff on single target. A bit scared again for the PvP section. I don't see the not applied to PvP combat, so I'm pretty terrified. Sub already deals a good chunk of damage in single target PvP, so I am worried a bit. Elemental, Chain Lightning damage increased, Earthquake damage increased. Nice. we Elemental Shamans lacked a bit of AoE damage, so very nice to see some improvement there. Enhancement, all damage increased by 8%, lightning bolt damage increased by 10%, chain lightning damage increased by 10%, and primordial storm increased by 10%. Enhancement was doing pretty decently, honestly, so I wasn't expecting any buffs, but always appreciate to see some love for enhancement. Again, pretty scared for the PvP, was already dealing good damage when I faced them. I faced a few of them yesterday and were dealing good chunks of my health, so pretty scared on the PvP side, but we're gonna see. Restoration, I called for some buffs. Healing Rain increased by 45% and Chain Healing increased by 20%. Only AoE buffs? Okay, no Riptide, no single target healing. Okay. Is it for raid? Because in Mythic Plus, the Chain Heal, I mean, Healing Rain, okay, is always useful. But Chain Heal? Why? Okay, I don't think this is gonna bring back the restoration from the horrible position it's in right now, but we're gonna have to see. Warlock, Destruction, I'm expecting buffs. Destruction, Excellent Cruelty now increased shadow damage dealt by 5% was 8, so nerfs. Ferocity now increased fire damage by 5% was 8, okay. Hellcaller backhand damage sold reduced by 50. Through the Felven now increased was... Okay, never mind. Increased castable damage by 35 was 10. So it's increased the single target and reduced the AoE. We've seen a lot of balancing like this. Okay. I was expecting a bigger buff on more points, but I guess Hellcaller was doing a bit good. So okay. Demonology, expecting a little nerf. Demonology, Dominion of Argus, Antoran Inquisitor damage reduced by 5, Antoran Jailer damage reduced by 45, damn. Lady Scourge damage increased by 35, and Grand Warlock damage increased by 35. I like that they nerf and buffs more different demons, because they are doing too much of one thing or another, so very cool. Soul Harvest Demonic Soul damage reduced by 55, okay. Soul Harvest Manifested Demonic Soul damage reduced by 50. Soul Antenna damage reduced by 35. Soul Harvest damage increased by 50, okay. Wicked Reaping damage increased, okay. Soul Harvest Demonic Favor now increased damage dealt by Demonic Soul by 200% to the main target of the Hand of Gul'dan. Okay. I was expecting nerfs on the Demonology side. The AoE burst was a bit too high for my expectations compared to other classes, and it was very easily shown. Okay, Warrior, we saw before the all harms problem. Let's see if they did something actually. Piercing down cooldown reduced, increased to 90 seconds was 30 seconds, and ally speed buff radius reduced to 6 yards. Okay, I can see that it's whatever. Va bene, ok, vai, let's go on. Arms. Ok. Master of Warfare Final Rank Heroic Strike will increase the damage you deal to enemies affected by your next Colossus Smash by an additional 3%, stack up to 5 times. Master of Warfare Final Rank Heroic Strike now increase the damage you deal to enemies affected by your next Colossus Smash by an additional 3%. Oh, wait a fucking minute. Arms may be decently back. All damage increased by 15%. What this means is that the thing we were seeing before of the Colossus Smash reduction cooldown is gone. And now you deal to enemies affected by an additional 3%. Heroic Strike now increases the damage you deal to enemies affected by your next Colossus Smash. So if I can cast 5 Heroic Strikes before my Colossus Smash, I deal 15% more damage on my next Colossus Smash. Not bad. I'm not too sure how this is gonna impact. I mean, as of very good they removed the thing. We were seeing the post before, some warriors were complaining that the last Apex talent was almost a DPS loss. So even having this means that it's a buff, and we appreciate it, obviously. But I'm wondering if 15% damage across the board is gonna actually help, or we're gonna need something more. Interesting. Fury, all damage dealt increased by 10%. Fuck yeah. Warrior may be back. Finally, but I don't wanna, cheer too much. I don't wanna be too much happy, because you know what happens to Fury Warriors when they deal a decent amount of damage. Yeah, you guessed it right. Nerf. Okay, let's go to protection. Oh, wait. Slayer, chance for Rip the Storm to trigger change from 20 to... Okay, yeah, same. Again, a nerf on Slayer. Okay, that's whatever. Protection. Phalanx rank 1. Thunderclap now causes your next Shield Slam to deal 10% additional damage and unleash a wave of force, dealing physical damage to all enemies in front of you. Did they rework the Apex talents then? Rework rank 1 and 4, so 2 and 3 are the same. Rank 4, in addition to existing effects, enemies damaged by Phalanx waves of force deal 5% reduces damage to you for 8 seconds. Great. It's always great to have that 3% damage, 5% damage reduction. You never despise the warrior damage reduction. It's the main thing you have. All damage dealt increased by 10%. I like. Some more damage on the tanks. We love to see that. Developer note, these changes are aimed at redistributing the power of Protection Warrior Apex to our better align with our design goals for Apex talents. Nice. All tank role specialization self-healing reduced by 25%. Oh! Thank you. Was it really that hard? Now nerf healer as well, please. Nerf healer as well. I agree, fully agree with vanilla players. Healers in PvP retail are way too strong. They are way too good for what they do. Nerf the shit out of the healers as well. If you are 1-on-1, I mean 2-on-2 with 2 DPS against 1 DPS and 1 healer, you will lose 100% of the time, because the healer has a value of like 3 people compared to the DPS that has the value of 1 person. So absolutely horrifying shit from the healers. Nerf that shit as well. Death Knight, Frost, all damage increased by 10%. Good. Felt shit playing the DK Frost. Deathbringer Reaper mark increased the 25%. Good, felt like shit. Amazing. Demon Hunter Devour, all damage increased by 9%. So we have a 6% damage reduction. So at the end of the day, we have a 3% damage buff on Devourer in PvP. Okay. Okay. I haven't seen too much Devourer shit one-tapping people, so I'm not against this. Druid Restoration Healing increased by 11% in PvP, all damage reduced by 15%. Fixed an issue where Convoke the Spirit was casting balanced version, so I didn't need too much damage. Okay, I have a big problem with this. I just said they should nerf healers, and now we have a good buff. All damage reduction reduced by 15%. Is stupidly good. It's like a perma-defensive up. I'm a bit scared now. Like, what the fuck, man? This is a bit too high, in my opinion. But maybe druids were dying a bit too fast. I haven't noticed that, honestly. I full burst a healer while it was stunned. He didn't die. He did not use defensives. And as he reached little health, he just fulled again. Went to full, so... Maybe I'm just that bad, though. Maybe I'm just that bad. Balance Dying Star now cause enemies to suffer 25% additional damage from Moonfire and Sunfire when dispelled, was 15%. So a bit of bonus increase for dispel prevention. Nothing crazy. Hunter, marksmanship. I hope it's a buff, because usually I play marksmanship in PvP and I'm just now starting to level up 1, so please be a buff. Okay, it's a bit of a nerf on control, so nothing too crazy. Survival, all damage dealt in PvP reduced by 8%. Apparently survival in PvP was doing pretty good. Mage Frost, I'm expecting a nerf. Ray of Frost damage decreased by 20. Yeah, absolutely. Ray of Frost was one-tapping. I felt like this Ray of Frost was the Ray of Frost of fucking Legion again. That you can take 2 ticks and then if you don't interrupt, you are fucking dead. It was a bit too high on damage, but okay. Crossbow damage increased by 100%. Damn. Crossbow damage increased by 100%. Wow. Brain Freeze now increased the damage of Flurry by 25%, so 50% nerf. Okay, good. Flurry damage increased by 70%. Okay, so they're redistributing the damage on the ability instead of just Ray of Frost, because I guess Ray of Frost, you had the mage and he was pressing on you Ray of Frost and then stay AFK until Ray of Frost came back on. I can see that. Very nice. Frostfire Empowerment now increased the damage of Frostfire Bolt by 10%, was 36 in PvP combat, so Frostfire Bolt apparently also was hitting a bit too hard. Monk, Rushing Wind Kick no longer deal 20% damage increase, okay. Jetfire Stomp damage reduced by 50%, reduced? Was that high? Damn. Mistweaver, all healing reduced by 8%, Shield and Gift healing decreased by 20%. I said that in PvP the monks were doing pretty decent, I think I said it. If I did not, I was thinking it, so yeah. Paladin, Holy. Just reward healing decreased by 50%, okay. Divine Vision, PvP talent now reduced the cooldown of Aura Mastery by 30 seconds, was 60. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't met a single Holy Paladin. So I did not know how things were for it. Retribution, all ability damage reduced by... Oh, thanks God. Oh! I was so fucking scared about what the retribution could have been. Thanks God they nerfed the damage in PvP. Because with those buffs on single target, it could have been crazy. What I'm not seeing are nerfs on the Feral. It's gonna be... I feel like Feral is gonna ramp a bit of, you know, positions. It's gonna be harsh to face. Anyway, Priest. Psychic Ward now lasts 6 seconds, was 15. Okay. Discipline, all damage done reduced by 8. Oh, thanks. Power Word Radiance healing increased by 40. Okay, I can see that. I'm not hating on these updates. These are good. Okay. Rogue Assassination. Implacable Strikes damage reduced by 35% in PvP. Okay, all damage reduced by 4%. Assassination was dealing a bit too much damage to be a control class. I know that they moved the shift of PvP again on damage a bit and tried to nerf the control aspect of the PvP, which I really appreciate. It's very awful to play in PvP and not being able to play the game, so very good change. Outlaw, all ability damage increased by 12%. Okay, so the Outlaw was underperforming, and all ability damage reduced by again, thanks a lot, because we were saying many of the classes that received a nerf now he received a buff on single target, and some of them may have been scary for the PvP scene. Luckily, also Sub has been nerfed a bit. Shaman, Elemental, Tempest damage increased by 20%. Good, but I don't know if you're gonna play Tempest. For one reason, Tempest feels clunky as fuck, because you cannot use the like Farseer ability, you know, the instant cast on Tempest, and you have to hard cast it. So if you in Battleground, I can see you playing Tempest. In Arena, I feel like you're gonna still go Farseer. But Earth Shock damage increased by 15%, nice. Damage from Dispelling Flame Shot increased by 600%. This effect can no longer critically strike. Decent, nothing crazy. Enhancement, damage from Dispelling Flame Shot, same thing, okay. Restoration, all healing done increased by 8%. Healing Tide Totem, healing increased by 75% is pretty fucking big. Damn, okay. Warlock affliction damage increased by 50%. I was not seeing many Warlocks, so that kind of makes sense. I did not see, honestly, any affliction when I played PvP in the previous days. Mostly destruction and demonology, no affliction that I can recall. So, good buffs. Shadowball damage increased, then soul damage increased, Dark Harvest damage reduced. Okay, so Dark Harvest was dealing a bit too much damage, and damage from Dispelling Unstable Affliction increased. Obviously, always, that's like the best part of the kit of the Affliction, the fact that Unstable Affliction, when dispelled, is like a bomb, and it's funny as hell. Warrior. Duration of Intimidating Shout has been reduced to 5 seconds, was 6, so a bit of a nerf on Intimidating Shout. Okay, Blade Storm damage no longer decreased by... Oh my lord. Maybe Arms is gonna be able to deal some damage again in PvP. That's amazing. Literally, when an Arms charge you now, is like an healer coming to rescue. It deals so little damage, it's ridiculous. I faced yesterday an Arms Warrior. I only had 2 pieces of gear equipped on my Shaman. I absolutely demolished the Arms Warrior while he was dealing no damage to me whatsoever, and he was in full burst. So this is amazing to see. Slayer, I ninja now, cast Mortal Strike Bloodthirst at 30% effect, it was 60. Okay, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. Buffing Bladestorm means that you have to remove damage from what was dealing the most damage before, so Mortal Strike and Bloodthirst. So, not complaining. Good buff in general. Very good changes overall. I'd say clap for Blizzard. Very good job in general. So, yeah. Good job. We're gonna see, I hope, for more changes in the future. Maybe quicker changes. You know, quicker changes means that you can actually have more recycling of worse, quote, worse classes. Like someone on the bottom of the tier list can shine again with quicker updates. So let's hope for some more updates in the future, especially not now. These are going live on March 17, so I'm expecting again some nerfs in 2 weeks from March 17. So the first week of April, I expect some class tuning, if not earlier. I wish to see something for the first week of April, because we are gonna have, again, a new rush of players joining the activities that get introduced into the game. So I hope Blizzard is gonna have enough data to, you know, balance again the game and look for some updates to do. Very good. Nice to see. Lovely. Sorry, drinking water. Now, let's see. There was one class that I was a bit scared of also. We saw some nerfs on the balance, but nothing in PvP. Oh yeah, but the buffs were not affecting PvP, right. Yeah, not applying in PvP. Thanks. Very nice. Oh, right. Havok is gonna be great in PvP again, I think. Anoli is gonna receive, this is also a huge nerf in PvP, also very appreciated. As of right now, it was dominating the scene. Evoker augmentation wasn't really that impactful in PvP, so for now I'm not too scared. Devastation is always the one that can potentially be very huge in sense of damage. Hunter, we received some buffs on the survival, but also a nerf on the general damage. All damage in PvP reduced by 8. But we also have... Wait, I lost Hunter. But we also have received more than 8% buff in the complex of things, and so yeah. Auto attack damage increased by 35, while for primary 80 to 60. General damage buff on survival. I'm worried about the boomstick again, but we'll see. Well guys, that was all from me for the class tuning. like the video, subscribe, but most importantly, let me know what you think about the patch notes in the comments. Thanks for watching, and bye.
Dun, 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 dun.